Well, this is the Pulse here, Joy News, and of course, your comments are welcome. We are live on X Spaces, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course, on myjoyonline.com, and we'll share with the rest of the world. Now, this afternoon, lots is happening in our courts. Today, there's a case that took place at Kumasi High Court, the OSP losing in that matter, and of course, we'll have details for you. This relates to the 2020 confirmation of the municipal chief executive for New Joabin in the Ashanti region. The case has finally been brought to a conclusion. The court has acquitted and discharged the suspect in that case, Safo Kantanka. We have details for we'll travel to Kumasi to bring the very latest. Also, Professor Ameyaw-Akumfi was also in court today. He's a former board chair of the Infrastructure Investment Fund, and he's been granted a 10 million bail with 2 sureties to be justified by landed property in Accra. He has also been ordered to deposit his passport and travel documents with a court registry and report to the police weekly. Also in court today is the former Director General of Signals Bureau. We'll have that details also coming your way. Plus, we'll also take you live to the CRD headquarters, where the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the MPP, Bernard Nchibu, is also being questioned by operative there. His lawyer is the former Attorney General Minister for Justice, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame. My colleague Kenneth Jesse is on standby. We'll cross over to the police headquarters to bring you live update from that interrogation currently underway. But let's start from the court here in Accra, and my colleague Latif Idris was in court. Latif, let's start with the Professor Ameyaw-Akumfi's case. Walk us through what happened in court today.
Okay, so if you recall, at the last agenda date, Professor wasn't in court. The explanation given by his lawyer then was that he had suffered a medical emergency. We didn't know what exactly emergency he had suffered. So the court adjourned for today for his plea to be taken. You know that the plea of his co-accused, Solomon Asamoah, had already been taken. So today it was highly expected that Prof would show up in court, and he did. He appeared in a wheelchair and was donning a blue and gold-colored fugu dress. He had medical plasters strapped on his wrists, suggesting that though he had just been released from the hospital, taken out of the hospital to the courtroom.
And this will be his first appearance.
His first appearance in court. And he also had a walking stick. And if you know the good old professor, he had a peculiar haircut. He was still, having that haircut and was in his glasses, if you like. He sat calmly in the courtroom and was exchanging pleasantries with sympathizers or people who had come in to solidarize with him, including Kennedy Ejapong. We also had S.K. Boafo also in court to also solidarize with the former education minister and former minister for ports and harbour during the Ameyaw-Akumfi administration. When the case was called, first, he stood up and was supported by the walking stick. But when he was called into the witness box, he was pushed in the wheelchair right in front of the middle of the courtroom to the left corner, and then they made him stop at the witness box. He sat and his plea was taken. In all, there were 4. In all, we have 6 counts, but only 4 for the good old professor. The first count was conspiracy to commit a crime, to wit, willfully causing financial loss to the Republic. The good old professor pleaded not guilty. Count 2, willfully causing financial loss to the state. Professor Ameyaw-Akumfi pleaded not guilty. Count 4. So if you see, we've skipped count 3.
Right.
His co-accused was charged with count 3, but he is not. So count 4, conspiracy to commit a crime that is intentionally dissipating public funds. Professor pleaded not guilty. Then we skip count 5 and go to count 6, intentional dissipation of public funds. The good old professor pleaded not guilty. Then his lawyer had to make a case for him to be granted bail.
Right.
Now, so the argument of his lawyer largely is that the man is 80-year-old He's a statesman. He's served during former President Kufuor.
As education minister.
As education minister, as minister for ports and harbors. He served under various boards, including PPA board, and now GIF, which has landed him in this court's suit. Now, when he was going on that tangent, the judge felt like, that is not why we are in court today. You want bail for your clients. Go straight to the point. But you could also tell that he is trying to get into the minds of the judge.
Right.
To explain to the judge that Professor Ameyaw-Akumfi, one, is not a flight risk. He barely travels out of the country, and if he does, it is purely on medical grounds.
Right.
He goes out to seek for medical attention and comes back home. So he's not a flight risk. He has been diagnosed as being hypertensive. And with the surgery that he had undergone, it will be, quote-unquote, punishment even before the trial begins. If
to hold him in custody.
Exactly. So his prayer, that I'm just trying to put everything in one. So the prayer is that he should be granted bail. And the bail condition should not be the same as the bail condition for the co-accused, which is the first accused person.
The former CEO.
Yeah, because the circumstances, according to the lawyer, are not the same. The Attorney General, that's prosecution, didn't fight back as far as the bill, put forward to the court was concerned. Just that the prosecution said the bail condition should not differ from that of the co-accused. That's all the case of prosecution. The judge made the ruling that Professor Ameyaw-Akumfi be granted a 10 million Ghana cedis bail with 2 sureties to be justified with landed property in Accra. And he has to submit his traveling passport and other documents to the court registry. He has to report to the police. His co-accused is supposed to report to the police 3 times every week. But based on his, condition right now, the judge was very lenient, and she ruled that he reports to the police once every week. The sureties are also supposed to submit their digital address system and Ghana cards to the police. And once the bail condition is executed, Professor Ameyaw-Akumfi would be granted bail. But before we left the court, we told he's been taken to the National Investigations Bureau. They have to go around to verify
the things. We understand that Kennedy Japan is too surety for him.
We saw Kennedy Japan in court. He appeared with some documents. He approached the lawyers for the good old professor, handed certain documents to the lawyers. We do not know if he has become one of the 2 sureties, but we can report that, yes, Kennedy Japan was in court. He had documents. He handed it over to the lawyers, and some of those documents were handed over to Dr. Justice Shremsai, who represented prosecution in this case. So we can speculate that, yes, Kennedy Japan is one of the sureties for the good old professor.
So, as we speak, it's unclear whether he's left the NIB officers and maybe have his temporary freedom.
We cannot confirm that because we were told that he'd been taken to NIB, and as we speak, if indeed they are able to meet those conditions, the police and NIB and all the investigative team would have to go out there, verify all these properties, and then come to the conclusion that, okay, this is able to meet the condition and that the bail is granted. As it stands now, we do not know if that bail condition has been met.
And then away from that, there's also the case of Kwabena Boahene, the former Signals Bureau Director General. He was also in court today.
Yes, but let's conclude on this one.
Right.
The co-accused of Professor Ameyaw-Akumfi, he had been granted bail. As we speak, he has not been able to execute.
So he's still in custody?
So he's still in custody. Today, he was brought to the court by security operatives, and when proceedings concluded today, he was escorted back to the vehicle and was taken back to the custody. Back to Kwabena Boahene. Yes, he was in court today with his wife and the 3rd accused person. At the last adjourned date, the court ordered that the prosecution should file witness statement and disclosures by May 20. So today was slated for case management conference. But when the Deputy Attorney General appeared, his explanation to the court was that a key investigator is unavailable. And so he's not been able to sign the witness statement and the disclosures that they are supposed to serve in the court. And so they were unable to meet the May 20 deadline given by the court for the filing of the witness statement and disclosures. And so he prayed the court to give them additional days for the key investigator to be available and then sign the documents for the necessary processes to be filed by prosecution. Now, the court or the trial judge, His Lordship Justice John Eugene Nyandu Nyante, he made an order that got us curious because during that brief period in court, there was no mention of plea bargaining, but he made an order that the accused persons should not initiate any plea bargaining agreements with prosecution. And they can only do that after the disclosure processes had been filed on them. So some of us got curious that why would a judge make such a pronouncement or give such an order if behind closed doors there are no talks of plea bargaining?
Right.
So when we met Atachia, who is lawyer for Edu Boahene and his wife and the third accused person, that was the question we posed to him, that is he really, or the client really considering plea bargaining? And he had a response for us. I don't know if that is ready for us to listen to right now.
All right. So we'll check on that shortly if we can bring in Mr. Atachia's response to the matter of plea bargaining, whether his client has accepted to do so and on what grounds. We'll have that. Okay, so let's listen to Mr. Atachia right now.
Do you have any idea why the judge will come with that?
I have no idea. Maybe that is anticipation that if there is a way to do anything like that, it should always be done premised on the papers filed. I do not think that is the way that we are going.
So as instance now, you have not made any offer whatsoever?
We've never made any overtures at all.
Are you considering plea bargaining?
No.
Would you consider that?
No. There's nothing on the table for us to plea bargain.
What do you make of the delay of the prosecution in filing the disclosures as of now?
I'm not too sure. Maybe the issue will be with the Attorney General. Let's give him the space to prosecute the case. Let's respect the fact that if an Attorney General wants an adjournment, then we shouldn't challenge it.
Counsel, it's curious that the judge would make the case about plea bargaining if neither the AG or prosecution or yourself have brought it to
it's a variable. It's a variable in the case management process. Yeah, it's a variable. So he's thinking elastic. But we've not made any overtures relating to plea bargaining.
Is it because you have not seen the volume of evidence against your client by way of prosecution or filing disclosure processes?
It's out of the way for one measure, and we keep saying that people do not understand, and I don't want to do a media trial. That this case has national security ramifications.
The last time we were in court, your client had been kept in bail because, on remand because of a separate case at the Ghana Water Limited. Have you so far been briefed? What is the issue with that?
Well, it's also gotten to do with Ghana Water Company Limited seeking help from national security, give them all the surveillance and the mechanism so that we could police the sanctity of water in the realm. So that's another national security matter.
So nothing wrong by your client there?
Well, at the moment it's very innocent by the terms of the Constitution. And proving otherwise. But what is happening now, I'm afraid people don't understand. It's deeper than what is being presented.
The number of people have questioned that letter that was transmitted to you.
Right, so Samuel Atachia is lawyer for Kwabena Edu Boahene and the wife. So when next will this case be in court?
2nd. the case will be recalled for case management.
Another case management?
Yes.
Meaning what, they were unable to resolve the matters today?
Because the disclosures and the witness statements had not been filed. So now,
and this is the fault of the prosecutors?
Yes, because
the judge gave them a deadline.
Exactly.
They've not been able to meet it.
Because according to the Deputy Attorney General, a key investigator is unavailable. And so he asked for 1 more week to be able to get him back to sign those disclosures for the necessary filings to be made.
All right, Lateef, thank you so much for coming through. Another case that happened today is the one involving the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the 2020 nominee for the Municipal Assembly of Joab in the Ashanti region. The court today acquitted and discharged Kwabena Safo-Kantanka. We have that detail coming to you pretty soon. But let me take you to the CRD here. That is what you have on your screens now. We'll have that for you pretty soon. But the MPP Ashanti Regional Chairman, Bernard Ntwibwe-Siakon, also known as Chairman Wontumi, turned himself in to the police this morning, who are reportedly investigating him for alleged involvement in illegal mining and other offenses. Now, officers of the National Intelligence Bureau last Friday, May 23rd, attempted and failed to execute a search warrant at the Kumasi residence of Chairman Wontumi. Now, let me take you to the office of the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police Service, where my colleague Kenneth Jesse is standing by with the very latest. So, Kenneth, what more can you report? Is Mr. Wontumi still facing questions?
Well, Elton, we're currently at the Criminal Investigation Department headquarters, as you rightly mentioned. We understand that Chairman Wontumi has been here for the past few hours. We understand that his counsel and he himself are engaged in a closed-door meeting with the officers here at the Criminal Investigation Department. We're standing outside because we've been denied access to enter inside. We initially were granted access, but we're told to come outside. But as we speak now, we've been told by bystanders and the police officers that he's been there for the past few hours, although we have no indication as to what time he is coming out. But as you rightly mentioned, he's been invited by the police after that botched invitation that happened in the Ashanti region last Friday. He himself has turned himself in here at the Criminal Investigation Department. What is interesting here, though, is that there are no supporters of the MPP or Chairman Wontumi who, usually you would see a lot of supporters in instances like this. The place is very calm. We understand that no supporters were allowed within the perimeters of the police headquarters. So in your shot now is the entrance to the Criminal Investigation Department here at the headquarters of the police, the Ghana Police Service, and we're still awaiting to see the outcome of it. So we are monitoring events from outside, of course, to see what will happen, whether he will be allowed to go, or whatever outcome that we will get. We will surely be bringing our viewers and listeners up to speed, Elton.
We'll leave it here for now and then come back to you when there's development on this particular matter. Bernard Ntwibwe-Siakon, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the MPP, is facing questions unclear exactly what they are investigating him. But according to his lawyer, they got an invitation from the CRD some time back requesting that he availed himself for some questions relating to his role as CEO of a Akonta mining firm and the fact that the mining firm had been involved in illegal mining or helping somebody engage in illegal mining activities. Now, last Friday, May 23rd, operatives of the NIB went to his premises in Kumasi, but they were unable to execute a search warrant. The negotiation ended with Wontumi lawyers saying that they will present him to the police today, Monday. That's exactly what they did today. Now, another development that we are learning is that in all of this, development, the former member of parliament for Asante South, Ameyaw-Akumfi, had always been the lawyer for Mr. Wontumi. But this afternoon, we're told that former Attorney General Godfrey Yeboah has taken over the case and is now representing Mr. Wontumi in this, inquiry, if you like, or questioning with the CID, the outcome of which we do not know yet. But we'll go back to this particular story when we have development. My colleague, Kenneth Jesse, will continue to stand by the police headquarters for the very latest on this matter.